Hey guys, Andrew here at Desert Brutality with Ian and Karl from InRange. Desert Brutality is a two-gun action match, right? What is two-gun action? Does it have anything to do with three-gun or?
Well, I'd say they're cousins of such. I've been a competitive shooter for a long time. I've shot cowboy, three-gun, high-power, NRA, Camp Perry, all that stuff. And I got kind of burned out on it. And a lot of the competitive, practical shooting sports have become more competitive and less practical.
Yeah.
Not wrong, just different. They're turning into NASCAR-like events. Not all of them, but the major ones are. And in my opinion, that's just not what I want out of my shooting match. I think there's room for everyone, but it's not what I want. And so in taking that over, I realized, well, I think we can do something different than this. And by not having the shotgun in play, which, by the way, is the thing that I feel corrupts three-gun the most in terms of its goals. So we left that out, and we have rifle and pistol, which is a pretty relatively reasonable military loadout. And by injecting the old-school Soldier of Fortune physicality back into the match, and then combining that with these guns, and then keeping the range and stage design practical with the goals, kind of like the stuff you do at a training event, but on the clock with a bunch of people there, turned it into a very different feeling event. It turned it more into a training event that had a clock, and you could go home from it and actually think about what happened versus are my split times fast enough.
Yeah. You go do a rifle, do a defensive carbine course, take some of those skills that you learned, some of the tools you put in that toolbox, and then run through them under a clock and getting that heart rate up and
I don't think you can overstate how different it is to sprint through 400 yards of dirt when it's 100 degrees outside and then engage a target versus moving from box A to B to C on a nice day on a green lawn, and the entire course of movement is 10 yards.
Yeah.
These are different things entirely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And with this particular match, we have really amped that up as much as we possibly can. So instead of...
You're not understating things at all.
So a typical two-gun match might have a kettlebell. Yeah. I'd have a 35-pound kettlebell that you have to throw some. This match, Desert Brutality, it's a 62-pound kettlebell. Mm-hmm. We might have 100 yards or 200 yards of sprinting in a normal monthly match.
And that
Desert Brutality, 400.
Yep. And that 62-pound kettlebell, you're not throwing it once or twice. It's it looked like, I think it was 100 yards total.
50 yards of throwing.
50 yards.
Yeah.
50 yards of kettlebell throws.
And you're not done until you've thrown it over that whole 50 yards.
Now that, obviously you're not throwing kettlebells in real life, but what we're trying to do there is bring in something that's a combination of things in a stage that gets everything you want out of it. Speed, accuracy, strength, endurance, aerobic, anaerobic, all at once under the timed event. And so by putting in that kettlebell, try it at home, see how far you can underhand throw a 62-pound kettlebell, and then where it lands is your next shooting position. 50 yards of that, by the time you're done with that, yeah, you're driving pretty good.
It really elevates the heart rate, and you might think that you can shoot well when you're huffing and puffing, but you can't. I guess what I mean by that is, of course, some people do it better than others. You guys kick the shit out of it. I saw some Marines out there that were making us all look bad.
This is a type of competition that, in particular, often attracts military, law enforcement, first responders, guys who are physically fit and active. Now, what's funny is you would kind of immediately think, oh, this clearly is going to be a match strictly of like 21 to 29-year-old muscle-bound dudes. No. In reality, what we found is two-gun actually attracts a wider variety of people than I would have ever expected. We have actually quite a lot of women shooting two-gun matches, and it's a very happy, it's a group of very supportive people. And if you come out and you just physically can't do one of the required obstacles or challenges, no big deal. Skip it. Nobody gives you a hard time. When it's awesome to get out here and see shooters struggling on a stage and finishing it, to applause.
No, that is true.
And I mean, if you're thinking about attending one of these events, I don't want you to think that it's so hard that you can't do it. My fat ass can do it. I get through the stages. I'm a lot slower than a lot of other guys. But I can get through the stages. You haven't designed it so hard that you can only do it if you're He-Man or a marathon runner.
Right, not at all.
Well, on that note, another thing that's interesting is everyone likes to focus on gear in competitive cycles. What's the best gear for this or the best gear for that? And I think, not always, but a lot, and it's something that's not even intentional, it's sometimes subliminal. When you're a stage designer, you design the stage around the newest piece of cool gear you bought, and 3Gun's done a lot of that. Oh, the nice new 1 to 10 variable, the nice new offset sights, or the new whatever the new thingamajig, the X-rail, the whatever. And suddenly the stage went from, oh, it's going to be this, to, I really want to see how my X-rail works, or I want to see how my 1 to 10 works.
Yeah.
These stages are always designed with the concept and principle that the most minimal practical rifle in the world is an AKM. Every stage here should be completable, not winnable, with an AKM. And stages are designed around that concept, and thus, things like Galil's, FAMAS, they're not as competitive as the more modern gear, but you can bring out guns that are being used in real combat zones and actually put them into a stage and have a good time. And if you took these to some other events, it's a waste of your time.
We've seen guys out here with historical reenactment style clothing. They're running Garand's, M1 carbines, a Car 15. What else have you seen that was
FAMAS, Karl's Galil. There's an M1A out here somewhere.
Yeah.
I've seen some G3s. A number of AKs. A wide variety, really.
On that note,
another
another thing we do as well is and to encourage people to take this as a match, but also a training and practice event, is we have stages that are designed to encourage people who are real world guys to bring out real world gear. So we have in this match Armored Plus P, which requires front and rear rifle plates, a helmet, and all of the ammunition you're going to carry and all of the gear for the entire match carried through all 8 stages. What that means is if you're an actual, like those Marines, they put on their real kit, and they're not going to come here and just become a grease stain. They're competing against other people in that division, which encourages guys like them that are the real world dudes to come out and shoot with their real stuff. And that's kind of another thing we try to do.
And that said, though, you can shoot a 2-gun action match with a rifle, a pistol, and a holster that retains it properly because some dumbass lost his pistol on a stage.
Holster retention is our #1 DQ.
And a couple of magazines. Honestly, you can do it without a chest rig. You can do it without magazine pouches. Most of the stages, I use 1 or 2 rifle magazines, 1 or 2 pistol magazines, occasionally maybe an extra, but you can probably get through most stages by just sticking a magazine in your pocket.
I have shot many a monthly match in jeans and a t-shirt with some mags stuck in my back pocket and a holster on my belt.
It is what I enjoy about these, and I did another match with you back in June. As you mentioned, shotguns are stupid.
They have their place.
Some people like them. I'm not going to judge you if you like shotguns. I'm not fond of shotguns myself, but as you mentioned, the rules in 3-gun set up 3-gun to be a reloading contest.
They do.
As you said, shotguns do tend to just muddle things quite a bit, take it away from that practical mindset. That's what brought me out here in the first place. That's what attracted me to the 2-gun idea.
Cool.
I think what you're doing is, 1, it's just a lot of fun. And 2, it's really, truly relevant to defensive shooting.
I think it is.
If you ever have to fight for your life, it's probably not going to be with a low heart rate. The fact that almost all of the stages are about how you solve a problem, not pose targets. One thing that's really fun to see is you come out and you'll see a dozen competitors run through a stage one way, and then all of a sudden somebody has an idea, realizes, I could solve this a totally different way. I could go prone and shoot under the car, or whatever the thing is. And all of a sudden, for the rest of the day, everybody else is doing it that way because that's what works.
But this is the culmination of many years of work, not only with stuff we do on InRangeTV. InRangeTV existed after the 2-gun. I was running 2-gun before we did InRange. But InRange has obviously profiled 2-gun quite a bit. And the popularity of the 2-gun videos and just the ability to grow the idea with things like Tiger Valley coming back, which was out in Texas. And now we decided, we're like, why don't we do what we do on a grander scale, at least once a year? And that's what this first inaugural match was.
It's awesome. I appreciate what you guys do on InRange. It's a lot of fun to watch. Forgotten Weapons, it allows me to kill lots of time when I ought to be working.
Sorry, it's all true.
But seriously, thank you guys for having me out here. Thank you for putting this together.
Pleasure.
Great to meet you guys in person.
Thanks for being out here.
Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. As always, like, share, and subscribe. It doesn't just help the channel, it helps YouTube understand what you like better. Have a great day.